It's time for some Clotted Cream Cookie here, my friends, the super epic cookie and breakdown guide for you, all about the biscuits and toppings that you should be using with Clotted Cream Cookie. Thank you for tuning in. As always, if you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. On top of that, if you got a question or comment along the way, let me know because I love to hear from you, and feel free to join us in our amazing community and Discord server. You can find all that information down below, along with the timestamps for today's video where we break down Clotted Cream Cookie. We'll talk about the biscuits and toppings that you should be on for this particular one as well, and go for a run and pull it all back together. So let's get into it here because we got a lot to get through when it comes to Clotted Cream Cookie. So this super epic cookie is a magic cookie, a middle laner, one that used to be used quite a bit previously. You don't see this cookie quite as much. However, it can fit well into your alliance team. So that is something to think about in alliance when you're going through those runs and those things with the 5 different teams, and particularly with the light elemental type. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this cookie. So primarily going to be focused in consoles orders. A 15-second cooldown, the Cloak of Light, so it's a light cookie, a marvel of the Republic's cutting edge technology, provides unquestionable advantages in battle. Upon using a skill, Clotted Cream Cookie projects the light cage onto the nearest enemy, targets cookies first. So we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. Blocking buffs and dealing area damage. The light cage cannot be dispelled and can be projected onto cookies resistant to interrupting effects and prevents them from receiving removable buffs. The light cage will also inflict extra damage relative to the target's HP at the end of its duration. While Clotted Cream Cookie is using his skill, he will become resistant to interrupting effects. Damage relative to max HP is capped at 300,000. So keep those things in mind. Now, this is really nice. Periodic damage, 22 hits for 1.4 seconds. Totals damage 500+% in the light. Light cage damage is 189%. Light cage duration is 4.8 seconds. So that's a pretty big lockdown there. Light cage extra damage. Cookies, 89%. Damage relative to max HP, plus 20% fixed damage relative to max HP, stun for 1.3 seconds, others 1.3% damage relative to max HP, 272% damage stun for 1.3 seconds, and then damage resist 17.5% for 8 seconds. So there's quite a bit going on with this particular cookie. A lot of the big things are really this periodic damage and area of effect, which can be huge in terms of attack and damage dealing cookie. And then additionally, the ability to get this light cage in and knock an opponent out makes a huge difference for this particular cookie. Now, we do have a 15-second cooldown. That's something to keep in mind on this one. So let's go ahead and break down the biscuits here now. So a couple things about this. First and foremost, always getting the legendary Beascuit on is Zesty Beascuit is great. Additionally, just by leveling up, you can get that more attack and more HP. Big thing that you can do. Certainly I have mine on Clotted Cream here, and we can do better as always, but that is what it is as a free-to-play player here. So a couple things, don't forget you can attune and reset. Now here are some of the big things in terms of that bonus effect. This particular cookie, if you are going to be on the damage dealing side, so we've got another consideration here, we'll talk about this in a little bit. You're going to want damage resist bypass on this because this is the only place you can get that for now. So this is a great strategy to put it on the legendary Zesty biscuits, and keep those things in mind. Now, as an alternative, 2 other things that you're going to want to consider if you get really good stats, or between this one and how you build your toppings, is you can go with attack or cooldown. Those 2 are also going to be very helpful for this cookie. If you're worried about survivability, depending on how you've built your team, damage resist can also be a good idea. However, I would prioritize damage resist bypass again, because this is going to be more focused towards dealing damage and damage orientation. Now, I do have attack speed on this. You certainly go ahead, reset, and get damage resist bypass on there as an example. So those are some of the considerations. Now, when it comes to toppings, here is what we always like to consider in terms of pairings. So as you can see, I only have one on here right now, but there is a second one that I would consider. But let's break down the attack one first, because you do want to be on the raspberry set as a damage dealer. This guy is got the AoE, so you want to take advantage of that. We want to take advantage of dealing the damage in particular. So a couple things around this one. Like I said, be on the 5 raspberry set effects here. Again, resonant, radiant toppings, those kinds of things when available do make sense. If you enjoy using this cookie, those kinds of things. So a couple pieces here as always. When we get into the bonus effects, what I would put on this particular cookie are these three. I would go with attack, I would go with cooldown, and damage resist. That's going to help offset some of the stuff on the Beascuits like we talked about. And then you can really figure out the balance in terms of where you want to go, because all of these take a lot of work to get to a perfect topping, as I like to say. And you can check out those guides down below or here on the channel on what that statistics look like. But ideally, again, damage resist, cooldown, and attack. Particularly cooldown is probably what I prioritize, because getting that cage off and getting those ticks in a bunch is going to be huge and very beneficial for you. Now, unfortunately, I was unable to get any cooldown here with this one, so these are things that we would tweak, but I do have attack and damage resist here. We got HP defense, we got defense, crit, debuff, attack speed, damage resist, defense, attack. So a little bit more survivability on these, but again, things to consider when you want to tweak this one to a little bit more perfection. So that is one piece. Now, the second piece here is, if you want to go with a little bit of the different route and ideas that we talked about, you could go on Swift Chocolate. Giving that reduction in that time frame is going to allow you to constantly get those ticks off, get that cage on. Those are some other considerations for you depending on PvE, PvP, or what you're doing with your team and what you're doing with this particular cookie. And again, if you're running this one with alliances, attack isn't a bad thing, certainly, and can help you get through some of those stages. I've certainly used those and I've shared those here on the channel. All right, so that is Clotted Cream. It's time for us to go into 829 here, as we always do. We've done Black Pearl, a ton of other great guides here on the channel. I encourage you to check those out if you're looking for questions or how to use some of these cookies. We are at 500,000 here for this particular cookie. So let's go ahead and make a run and see if we can get all the way through with just the one. As always, I don't think this should be a problem, but you never know. So we got a 4-second cooldown out of the gate. Here you go. You can see his skill set. Look at that. Boom. Locking things down. Pretty good. It's about 12 seconds. It's about 8 seconds in between. If you've seen kind of how we've done some of these other ones, there's the cage and the lockdown. Here we go once again. Now we are taking a decent amount of damage. So maybe being on cooldown to get through this would be the better one to run. We'll see if we can make it all the way through. Does a lot, as you can see. This one might be a problem, because this guy likes to stun. We better get it off. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. About halfway on our life with the very, very last one here. Ideally, this cage should get dropped on the big baddie in the back. Ooh, there we go. Almost, but not quite. We got through. Now, with that, that is our Clotted Cream Cookie there for you here today. A super epic cookie and a breakdown and things that you can consider in your Beascuits and topping guide and how to be successful with this particular cookie.
To test our latest mechanical inventions.
That's right. Perfect. Now, with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you still got a question or comment around Clotted Cream or in general, do feel free to let me know, because I love to hear from you. And on top of that, feel free to join us in our amazing community and Discord server, my friends. Thank you for tuning in here today as we broke down the Beascuits, the topping, gave you some more background on Clotted Cream Cookie, and took it down here in our run. I appreciate you tuning in today, and I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community here. Would love to see you in the Discord server and all that fun stuff. Thank you for the likes and the subs, like I said, and thank you to all of our members. We do have memberships available to you. It's a nice way to support the channel. On top of that, our affiliate links, something there for everyone, as I like to say. You can check those out. Don't forget my socials, at me, chat me, stay connected. I love seeing your stuff. I love sharing your things in terms of here on the channel and the community, because we get a lot of great feedback, and I cover that stuff here for you. Now, with that, get out there with Clotted Cream. Enjoy this particular cookie. It is a fun one. It's an interesting one. It's a different one, and have some fun. And with that, keep on running, my friends. We'll see you out there.